Well, we're here at OFC50, and I have the pleasure of being seated with Stefan Heinemann, who's the Managing Director of PHIX Photonics Assembly. Stefan, it's really a pleasure to be here with you.
Trevor, thank you and for coming by and giving me the opportunity to explain who PHIX is, what we do, and what we do in the United States.
Couldn't be more excited. This has been months in the making, this chance to meet up with you. But before we dive into PHIX, I actually wanted to take a moment to let our audience get to know a little bit more about you. And you have a very dynamic background. You were an R&D leader. You were also an executive of prior companies. And now you're managing director wearing many hats. But I would imagine that you still maintain that connection to being an engineer. And you're an engineer at heart. So I'm curious, and I'm sure other people are too. Was there a defining moment in your life where you knew you wanted to be an engineer?
Good question. Thank you, Trevor. And it probably really goes back to the family. Everyone in my family was an engineer, and my shining example is my father, who was a medical doctor and engineer. And I had the fantastic opportunity to see a lot of different parts of the world and the laser scene. Starting out in Jena right after the wall came down, working for JENOPTIK laser diode, to getting the tremendous opportunity to building a Fraunhofer Institute at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. And now having this fantastic and really very unique opportunity to work with PHIX together in bringing integrated photonics into real-life applications. What makes my job so extremely interesting is that we here at OFC doing Datacom, and an hour later we talking to bio companies and how we can make the next generation sensor. Where other in the world do you have that opportunity to help customers on such a broad basis?
Well, it's really interesting that you brought that to light, and let's put a pin on that remark you said about where else in the world, because that'll enter into our conversation. Talking about PHIX. So the reality is that photonics assembly and integration and packaging is still a relatively niche service, but it's a critical one, especially over the last couple of years as we've seen the rise in interest and application use of photonic technologies. So what's differentiated about PHIX? And how do you feel that differentiation really provides an advantage for your customers and those that would want to work with you?
Well, maybe you're here at the Dutch pavilion, and when you look around, you have very high-tech companies working in that field. And I think this is the very nutritious ground that PHIX was really founded on and established on, under the wings of Photon Delta, in this entrepreneurial network of companies who all work on bringing photon optics on the chip. I look at it almost as the same transition from the vacuum tube to the transistor. Right? What we are working on is bringing optical lenses and electrical functionality onto one chip and marry that with CMOS technology. And I think that makes PHIX very unique positioned compared to other OSAT or large volume manufacturers in the optical industry that pushing this new trend towards into many different variety of applications in this great network that makes PHIX very unique.
So to recap, it sounds like that CMOS manufacturability is a real advantage for customers, and it allows PHIX to address opportunities across a range of applications. Can you share some of those types of applications that you're enabling customers in these days?
There's a reason why we are at OFC, right? OFC50. A big part, and you hear this very, very often, co-packaged optics, this buzzword, photonic-based or PIC-based transceiver technology. It's undeniable that the next generation scale up and scale out hardware will be using heavily silicon photonics and co-packaged optics. And NVIDIA just, with this 2 weeks old reveal, and we see a lot of great product releases here at the show, A lot of them are obviously based on silicon photonics, active-passive integration, but more importantly also really making optic photons and electrons play together. And that's exactly where PHIX has a very strong foothold in this market.
You just shared some of the applications that I think many people are aware of, but in your perspective, are there any trends in the photonics sector that you're seeing coming down the line that you think other leaders should be paying more attention to?
So we had this, yes, the answer is yes, Trevor. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around what else do we see. And probably the one of the exciting opportunities we see is in the sensing application in general. And whether you want to make agriculture, more advanced, because another trend obviously is that the area available for farming decreases while world population increases. So efficient farming becomes a very important part of it. Now it happens that the Economic Development Agency assigned this technology hub for smart photonic sensing to our area where we are incorporated in the United States. That is a high growth field, but also the next generation ultrasound devices, point of care, sensors, those are all very exciting applications that are just at the verge of the hockey curve.
It's almost a shorter list to think about applications that photonics over time wouldn't impact. You mentioned something a moment ago that I think is worth sharing with the audience, and that is PHIX's entry into the US. So having solid roots in Europe, PHIX recently expanded into the US market. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and why that decision was made?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of our customers, not obviously, but a lot of our customers are from the United States. And it is important to help customers in the early stages, especially if you are working in the field of a highly integrated product. It is important to be close to the customer early on. Make sure that whatever they design is compatible with what packaging can deliver to make it a product as quickly and as successfully as possible. So in that sense, about half of our revenues comes from the United States. It is very important for us to be close to our customers in the Bay Area, but all across the United States.
That's a really great segue to talking about being a good partner. And in our view at SBT, being a good partner is about strengthening the ecosystem in which you operate. And one of the things that we've seen PHIX do remarkably well is forge strong partnerships across the photonics and optics and related sectors. In your view, what does it mean to be a good partner?
What does it mean to be a good partner? Is be reliable, do what you say and say what you do. To bring it in a nutshell, but I think it's very important to show our customers what the capabilities are, where the technology stands, what the supply chain can deliver, and not raise any false expectations. It's okay to say, no, we can't do it at this time, but these are other people that might be able to help you. And this creates the level of trust that puts us both all in a winning position.
Two really key points about the transparency and the honesty about capabilities. And one of the things I think to click twice on is that being a partner is also about making assertions or bets or bold moves. And in my view, PHIX coming to the United States to support their partners is one of those moves. Let's talk a little bit more about the company itself. So you've helped build the organization, both in Europe and now in the US. Are there certain qualities or traits that PHIX looks for when bringing on an engineer or a researcher as a potential employee?
Yes, there are many, but I think at the end of the day, it's about personal relationships and creating a culture of open communication and respect. Being able to walk the extra mile that you always need to walk, right? to make a customer happy and to push the technology forward. One of the things that we are especially proud is that we're with a little bit more than 60 people. I think that right now we have 18 nationalities working at our facility. And diversity for us is a very important factor to incorporate different cultures, because obviously every culture has its strong points and its weak points, and bringing them together to really make one plus one equal 3, I think really isn't the people at the end of the day, and how the organization is run and how the organization appreciates their asset of employees.
What a great way to encapsulate a conversation about a very important company, PHIX Photonics Assembly. I'm really glad that we got a chance to talk. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, maybe to a potential engineer or researcher who's considering joining PHIX and just curious to learn more from your point of view?
I can only appeal to young engineers, and that's also why we are in university-based towns. We always looking for talent that is eager to learn. The opportunities in photonics is endless. When I started here, building lasers, it was about aligning lenses, and nowadays it is cross-functional, from RF electronics to integrated circuit design, endless possibilities with great paths for career and advancement. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're always on the look for young and ambitious talent.
Well, I personally don't think there could be a better endorsement for PHIX.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, and wish you and the rest of your team the best of luck and continued growth.
Thank you, Trevor, so much. Thanks for being here today and making this interview possible. Thank you so much.